Hey there, VC. My name's Tom. You're watching Rant District. If you're new to the VC, VC stands for very confusing. Anyway, I wanted to do a video just to show a little bit more gear, just to show what I use for computer audio or digital audio. That's probably a better way to look at it. And really digital audio in my home office. So for just for my own personal computer, I'll give you a look at what I use here. All right, so very basic home computer setup. Keyboard, mouse, little CD player on the bottom, and then you have a computer on the left on top of it. Middle part is a DAC, digital to analog converter, and then the right is a headphone app. And then you got two cheesy speakers for when I want to listen out loud, and a monitor. All right, so let's focus on the audio components I most want to focus on, which is the DAC, the digital to analog converter, and the headphone amp. The DAC is a Modi by Shit Audio. That's SCHIIT Audio. That converts the digital signal from either the computer, or in this case, very old, cheap Sony CD player that, oddly enough, does a Super Audio CD as well. I've tried a few SA CDs. They do sound a bit better than regular Red Book format CDs, standard CDs. But it's a very tiny bit better to me using my gear. So spending $30 on a Super Audio CD is ludicrous, I guess is how I would phrase it, for me, given the equipment I use it with. For 3 or more times the price to get fractionally better sound is not worth it. So anyway, the CD player is connected to the DAC. So this is really, although it's a CD player, it's just acting as a transport. It's just spinning the disc and sending the signal to this device, the DAC, which then converts it to an analog signal. And then that analog signal gets fed over to this thing. It's a headphone amplifier. It is the Magni. It's actually the Magni Heresy by Shit Audio. Again, a very basic headphone amp. And your headphones just plug into here. It's basic. It's meant for single-ended headphones. Just something with a standard headphone jack that most of us are used to. The computer also plugs into the DAC, and I can switch between sources. So if I want to listen to a computer coming from my audio coming from my computer, whether I'm streaming, streaming from YouTube or Spotify, or if I'm just playing files that I have on my computer, I have a lot of FLAC files. This gets sent to this, that turns the digital signal into analog, feeds it out to this, and then I plug my headphones in and I listen to that. Now I do have a pair of cheap, what are these, Arvika speakers for when I want to listen to something out loud. Usually I'm just listening to a YouTube video, then I don't really care about the sound quality, and I'll just play it out loud there. If I really want to dig what I'm listening to, and in this particular home office, headphones are the most appropriate thing for me to use. I plug my headphones into this. So let me turn these things around. Oh, there's Godzilla. I dig Godzilla. So let me turn this around and kind of show you what the connectors look like. All right, so again, this is the computer. It's a NUC, stands for Next Unit of Computing. It's by Intel. Something I just bought it. It's got the chip and the motherboard in there, and I put inside a hard drive and some RAM. And I'll talk more about that at the end of the video, because most of the people watching this probably not going to care. So anyway, here's the DAC by Shit. It's got these red cables right here are the analog signal going out, and they plug into the analog input right here on the headphone amp. So basically you want to turn a digital signal into an analog one so you can listen to it and I could be, although I'm plugging it into a headphone amp, I could be plugging this DAC into a regular stereo receiver just to listen to digital audio on a stereo that doesn't have digital audio capabilities. So you've got 3 connectors here, 2 SPDIF connectors, that's coaxial and toslink SPDIF, basically just digital connectors, and this is a USB connector. So my computer is plugged into the USB connector, and the CD player has a optical out, coaxial optical out, that is plugging into the coaxial input right here, and then which this thing turns it into an analog signal, feeds it into here so you can listen to it. So very basic setup. All right, sorry about the glare. Not sorry enough to do anything about it though. So anyway, as for the cost of the gear, the DAC, the Modi, is $100. The headphone amp, the Magni, is $100. So these are inexpensive things. You buy them direct from Shit Audio. It's SCHIIT audio.com. They make wonderful gear that performs really well, that's priced affordably. They price things to be reasonable. They very consciously do not price things to gouge. So they make better headphone amps, higher end headphone amps, but for most people like myself, $99 headphone amp will probably be all I'll ever need. Will I upgrade to a better one? Probably. I'm a ridiculous person. We know this. The DAC does what I needed to do for now. Might I upgrade it later? I might. We'll see. Shit has a wide variety of gear to take a look at. But, the DAC could be something that's plugged into just a CD player in a bedroom or somewhere else where you want to listen, to digital audio. And then you could plug it in, that DAC, into your stereo if you want, or you could plug it into a headphone amp. It might be something that would be handy in the bedroom where, you've got your CD player plugged into the DAC, or, your phone, you can get an adapter, plug into the back of the DAC, and have your audio be much better than you would get out of most phones, and feed into a basic headphone amp. So it's a pretty powerful headphone amp for being a basic amp. For most people's needs who are not extreme geeks about headphones. And when I say geek, I mean that as a term of infection. Maybe I mean it as a term of infection. A term of affection. I like geeks. Geeks are good people. Anyway, if you've got higher end headphone needs, you're not really watching this anyway. So just a basic setup gives me good computer audio out of headphones that I would use in the office. Does what I needed to do. You don't have to spend a lot of money on these things. You could, if your headphone amp on your stereo, you have an old vintage stereo receiver is not very good, that headphone amp can plug into it as long as you have some sort of a preamp out on your old receiver. And if you have an old receiver, you probably have that. If you have a newer receiver, you probably don't. A newer budget receiver anyway. But you have an older receiver and you don't have digital audio capabilities, spend $100, get a DAC, plug it in, bam, done. Don't need to upgrade your whole receiver. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're interested in the NUC, the computer part, I'll do a really quick bit right now about that. All right, so the computer, it's a NUC by Intel, NUC, Next Unit of Computing. Front of it's got a power switch, 2 USB connectors for connecting a USB device. One will also provide power. You got a tiny little headphone jack for standard phone type earphones. If we, this thing is really small. Let's take a look at the bottom. It's an Intel NUC. It's an i3 chip. And just give you an idea to take it apart. You've got screws just inside the feet. You got to take out, and then lift it up. On the back of this, That's not the back. On the side of this, we have a, that escapes me. You got your lock for it to lock it down if you're in a public space. I don't know anybody that uses a Kensington lock, I think that is. And then this is for like a micro SD card if you need more storage. On the back of it, it's got, a wall wart that powers it. This doesn't use a lot of power. It uses a 19-volt wall wart. Got an HDMI connector that goes out to my computer monitor. Ethernet connection, gigabit Ethernet connector. I do actually use Ethernet in here. It's more stable than Wi-Fi, although Wi-Fi is built into this thing. And then 2 USB connectors, and then Lightning connector for some other types of monitors. Let me just pop this open real quick, and I'll show you what's on the inside. All right, so now we're looking at the bottom, the underside. I took the bottom plate off by unscrewing the feet screws, and then here you got it. So when you buy this thing, you can buy it as a kit with it all put together, but I just bought, the computer itself, which has its own CPU chip in it, and the board's already in there. The only thing it lacks is RAM, which is right here, and a hard drive, which is right here. So I put in two 8 gig RAM chips, so it's got 16 gigs of RAM, and then I put in an SSD hard drive. It's a 500 gig hard drive. I could have gotten a 1 terabyte, and they might even make them bigger, but I didn't really have a need for that. So basically 16 gigs of RAM, Intel i3 chip, and a 500 gig hard drive all together. This whole thing together, it's pricier than it's really pricier than putting together a regular, tower computer. I value space, and I value quality. I'm not going to overpay for anything, but when I buy a computer, it's generally a 10-year deal. I try to buy right, and then I'm done for 10 years. And that's typically what I've managed to do. Without, sometimes you got to replace a RAM chip or some a hard drive or what have you. But generally this does it. Now, this is a this is a very slim computer. So for somebody who's using, who's a heavy-duty video gamer, this is not for you because it will get hot and overheat fast. And also, you've got no space in there for a high-tech, high-res, high-quality graphics card. If you're into gaming, this is not going to work. Now, I got this slimline version of this thing. There is one that's taller that has more space in it if you're worried about it overheating. Now, my computing needs are basically, a little bit of database work, but mostly just, checking email, surfing the web, watching some YouTubes. So this thing does it, it does it, and it's a quality piece of gear, and it should last a long time. Now, this is not brand new. This whole idea of a NUC, a next unit of computing, is not a brand new thing. Intel's been doing it for a while, so I feel like it's already been tested. And again, this is not something I drive very hard. Now, I'm pretty sure that underneath this board, there's a fan. I don't ever hear it come on because I never drive this thing that hard. But if you think you're going to drive it hard, you can get a taller one that has a fan built in, or a larger fan anyway. So if your needs are basic and you have tight space that you got to work with, I think this thing is a great value. The Intel NUC. If you, it's also probably appropriate as a media server if you were just going to have like a small computer to kind of tuck behind a television where you're going to feed a lot of files or do streaming through this. It's probably gonna do well at that as well. If you're a heavy gamer, then this is not for you. Your video card will be larger than that computer. It's going to generate heat. Your CPU, everything's going to generate heat. And in a small case like this, if you're going to do things that are going to generate heat, it's not appropriate for you. Anyway, blah blah blah. The whole point of this was just for converting, for getting better sound out of digital source, like whether it's your phone or your laptop or computer. The DACs that are built into that to convert the signal to analog are not all that in a bag of chips. The little headphone amp in your phone to plug your headphone into is not very good. It may serve your needs, but if you want better sound, um, it's a significant improvement using an external DAC and an external headphone amp. And with Shit Audio, you don't have to spend a lot. $200 and you're done. They call it a stack because you could stack them and they look nice together. They have like some of their gears in silver or gray, some is in black. Your mileage is gonna vary as to what you like, but check out their website, Shit Audio, SCHIIT audio.com. I'll link it below if I remember, and I don't get any money from this. I think I've read the book by the founders of Shit Audio, Jason Stoddard and Mike Moffat. Oh, Jason Stoddard wrote the book. I really dig their philosophy on things. They're a U.S. company, and they make affordable, quality audio gear, mostly digital. But they do good stuff, and I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for direct retail. You're paying the manufacturer directly, and you're not paying a middleman. You're not paying somebody who's got to set up shop in a retail store and demonstrate audio. The manufacturer's not paying a distributor who's paying a retailer. You've got a lot of the money that you spend is going into the gear essentially, and I value that. Now, all that said, if you buy audio gear that's available in a retail store instead, and you have the option to buy online or in the retail store, do what works for you. But if you actually go into that retail store and are taking advantage of the store to audition gear or to pick the brains of the salesperson or owner there, do the right thing and buy it through the store, even if it's more money than spending online. And that's enough soapboxing. I'm blathering, and as usual, when I get to that point, I'm going to shut the fuck up. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.